Hello and welcome everybody to another one of our meditation coaching demonstrations today. We're with Annette Dassi?
Dassi.
Dassi, with Annette Dassi. And she's calling from, are you in Berlin today, Annette?
No, I'm in Switzerland today, near Bern.
Switzerland, okay, you get around.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to read a little bit of the background on Annette's meditation practice, and then Annette, if you could elaborate on it, that'd be great. So in terms of describing her meditation practice, so Annette has a formal practice, and she has studied with teachers. Her practice methods include vipassana, mindfulness, and guided meditations. She practices daily for around 60 minutes. That's quite good, Annette. And in terms of a retreat experience or more long-term practice, she's done a yoga teacher's training course for 1 month. She's had 3 retreats of 2 weeks each in ashrams in Costa Rica, Canada, and Germany. Which ashram in Costa Rica was it?
Well, it was with the teacher. She's called Ren Claire.
Okay.
She has a summer camp ashram at one of the coasts.
Okay, no, because my wife's sister lives in a spiritual community in Costa Rica called Pachamama. I don't know if I was wondering if it was the same place.
Yes. Oh, how nice! Yeah,
yes.
But it was not that, because she usually is in Canada, but she comes there for summer retreats.
Okay, do you want to elaborate a little bit on your personal practice before we go into kind of what's happening in your meditation?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm kind of addicted to meditation since I practice it. So you said it's good. I'm doing 60 minutes. I try to how can I say, to limit myself to it, because I feel that I need it, like I need breathing, and sometimes it looks to me as if I'm running away from life through meditation. So actually, for me, 60 minutes is what I can do by feeling stable, but I could do it the whole day.
And could you explain, just before you go on, could you explain your profession? You were an academic, right?
Yes, I'm a professor, and I'm teaching, but our teaching obligations are not so much. So I'm so free to organize my own schedule well, actually, my personal practice is exactly what I'm going to teach my students about. So
that's fantastic.
The books I'm reading on personal development and to help myself, and on meditation, and spiritual awakening, and all this. What I do for myself, I pass on to my students. So
that's beautiful.
My life and my work are really integrated.
So you're really, you're fortunate to have that. I actually have the same thing. Even though I'm quite busy, it's what I love to do. So
yes, exactly.
All right, so let's go a little bit more into your meditation now. Did you want to say one or two more things about it, or?
Well, I'm quite eclectic.
You're quite what?
Eclectic. I eat and practice whatever feels at that moment most appropriate to me.
Okay.
So when I'm into vipassana, I'm eating vipassana, and when I'm fed up with it, I go to some kind of different practices, but always including whatever I have learned from previous stages, sometimes dropping, sometimes adding. So I'm really very unstable when it comes to what I'm actually practicing. And this was also what my where I needed some guidance and some coaching. And at that moment, when I was really starting to be very worried about this kind of eating all I can eat and eating every kind of spiritual food.
Cooking, yeah.
Cooking.
Yeah.
When I was having this kind of concerns, because I'm also aware that I might be bypassing some problems with this approach. When I was asking myself, am I not too much on the one side? Then I thought, well, but how can I answer that question? Because when I'm on the other side, I can also doubt myself, and I'm doubting myself, because I have this judgment that only Vipassana is the real meditation, and all the guided ones are like the cookies. I treat myself.
Okay.
But then I doubt myself, like now I'm putting myself on this, let's say, harsh diet, just to tell myself afterwards that I'm a good meditator. Whereas when I'm doing plain Vipassana, striving for choiceless awareness, I sometimes end up in horrible struggles,
It's very common.
So, and then I asked myself, after having a session for 45 minutes, struggling, let's say 44 minutes, and then just to tell myself afterwards, oh, I've been so pure, The only thing I've been doing is being open for what is. But then I've been open to help, And then I think, if I go to Insight Timer, and I don't know whether you know the Insight Timer community,
of course.
there are so many, so very good teachers. Like, for example, I love Linda Hall. And then she's bringing me, in 5 minutes, Linda is bringing me to that peace of mind where I can accept anything that is showing up. So why I'm being so harsh on myself, just to give myself good notes at the end? So, this is this going to the right, to the cookie side, then going, and I don't know which side of myself to trust. So this is my question to you.
Well, it sounds like both sides, there's a subtle ego identity there. So in other words, there's the striving that very, very commonly comes up in Vipassana, especially with certain schools of Vipassana. There's a goal and we need to get there and we need to sit, and it can be like that with Zen, just sitting, you sit through, you don't move, whatever. So that's that subtle striving, which we have strongly in our society. We are conditioned, culturally conditioned to be achievers. That is for sure problematic. But at the same time, if you sit, let's say, with perfect mindfulness, the practice will lead you into challenging developmental moments. Yeah. And sometimes, and those, it's good to look at those challenging developmental moments always as a purification. So whoever, the ego doesn't want to be there. The sense of self doesn't want to be there, because the purification is actually the purification of the sense of self. So it's much easier to go off and do something else. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happening. Probably sometimes it is, maybe sometimes it's not, but that's everybody faces that. But the point is, what you're doing, the combining of practice, the integration of practice, actually sounds like a healthy integration. That sometimes you have pure mindfulness practice that takes you through perhaps a more pleasant, expansive meditation, maybe a more challenging, difficult meditation, whatever, but it's pure mindfulness that takes you there, so that's okay. And then you have those outlets where you trust on a guide, is in guided meditation, to lead you through another practice. And what's important is that we begin to, in a way, meditation is the process of internalizing these deeper states of consciousness. A guided meditation is also a process of internalizing a deeper state of consciousness. Meeting with a teacher is also a process of internalizing. Like if you think of a teacher, imagine some amazing spiritual teacher. There's so many these days, and there's just something about them, the Dalai Lama or whatever. You meet them, and suddenly you shift into this deeper, beautiful state just by their presence. It could even be online, or of course in physical presence. They're an external person who has completely internalized their spirit, and it's expressing out of them. Just by being in their field, you begin to resonate on the same vibrations as they do.
Yeah,
And you
exactly.
pick up that state. But it's caused by an external human being, a saint or a really special person. So what you eventually want to do is you eventually, through the process of practice, want to be able to kind of internalize that to the point where it's self-caused.
Yeah.
And not self-caused by striving, I have to reach this goal, but self-caused by simply being mindful. And it doesn't matter if you're using a guiding meditation or a mantra-based meditation or a body scan or following the breath or observing the mental formations and mental thoughts. If it's pure mindfulness, the process will continue to unfold. The purification will continue to happen. So both can be good. What I suggest is that you've since you've got a Vipassana background, you've done retreats, Vipassana retreats?
Not this formal one of 2 weeks, because they don't allow you to do yoga.
Who's they? Who's they? Which school?
Oh, they have it all over the world where you pay.
The Goenka tradition?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where,
so they're not the only ones that don't allow you to do yoga.
yeah,
Many
and
of the
this is
traditional
why
schools.
I never went to those ones, because I have serious problems with my body, and serious
Physical pains.
and
Yeah.
everybody tells me you will go through it, but I tell you, when I'm addicted to yoga, I'm addicted to meditation. I'm even more addicted to yoga, because I need to have this at least once a day to have this stretch. Otherwise, I feel so much pain in my body.
Okay. So let me first say that there is absolutely nothing wrong. Then let's say if you're meditating 12, 16 hours a day, there's nothing wrong with taking a 45-minute hour in the morning or whenever you do it to do mindful yoga. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and these
Okay?
schools in Germany where I applied to, I had to formally assure them that I won't do it. So I said no.
I know. Yeah, most
So
of
I just did MBSR,
Okay, sure. Yeah.
with John Kabat-Zinn style, and they of course allow you.
Allow it, yeah. The traditional schools won't allow it.
Yeah.
Most Westerners, if they're not too orthodox, they'll allow it. In fact, it might even be part of the retreat. They might even lead it. Yeah. So that's definitely fine. The only one thing I would caution you is just take care of on the idea that I'm addicted to yoga, that I have to do it. It is for sure beneficial. There's no question about it. You know it. I know it. But if we're attached to it, well, what happens if somebody takes that away for you for a week? Do you get really nervous? And that's something to look into.
Really, I already get nervous when I have to do without it for 24 hours.
So there you go. So that, and by the way, Annette, just for the recording, I want to say that Annette is also an Aikido, high-level Aikido teacher? Practitioner, for sure, teacher.
Yes,
so she has a lot of practice. But the thing is, we want to get to the point when yoga is internalized, you can do or don't do, and it's still there. When Aikido is internalized, you can be in the dojo or not in the dojo, and it's still there. So that's a process. Yeah, it could take a few decades. It could take several years before it's internalized. But we need to use our mindfulness to examine the mental states. And maybe we can kind of circle back to everything that you've said. And it's just how to use mindfulness when there's certain ideas coming up in the mind, like I need to push through because it's pure Vipassana, or I need to take a break and go do guided meditation because it really helps me to balance out, or I need to do yoga, or I need to sit and not move. All of these ideas, all of these things can actually be very beneficial. All of them can also be problematic. It depends on our kind of ego ego relationship to these issues. And when I say ego, I think you know this, but when I say ego, I don't mean ego in a bad sense.
Yeah, I
I
know.
mean ego, in a healthy sense. And when we're attached, the ego is always going to be a little bit on the unhealthy side, dependent side.
Yeah, I know.
So mindfulness, yeah, I know you know that. I'm kind of more saying this for the video, but mindfulness is the one practice that helps us to see when we are attached. In other words, there's clinging, grasping, or clinging, or when we're free. You know, Annette, the Buddha said that, for example, the teachings of meditation, the Dharma, is offered with an open hand. You can take it or not. He's not holding it. There's no kind of like, you do this for me, I do that. There's nothing. It's an open hand. It's for you to take or to leave. It's free. And then, take it and see for yourself. Ehi passiko was this beautiful injunction that the Buddha gave to all of his students. Come and see for yourself. And then he just, and then he left it to you. The more you invest in the practice, the more a teacher will meet you, usually in that practice, or you're also a teacher. So the more your students invest, the more available you are to meet them. If they're like standing on the edge, sometimes like the beginners, when they train the beginner, like here's the, this is the door to the dojo.
Yeah.
Beginners like to train right here. So they can escape. So they can.
Also, when starting yoga, I was
right,
always
sure. In the back.
With certain asanas, I had to go to the toilet.
Yeah. Yeah, right. We have a water fountain over here. It's so funny to see, like when it gets challenging, all the people who are on there kind of out of their comfort zone, suddenly they need a glass of water, and that's all fine. God bless us all, because we need to be on the edge of our comfort zone to learn.
Yeah.
Too far, it doesn't work. Too much outside of our comfort zone.
Tell me now, I really want to know. For example,
okay,
on something which is coming up now,
okay.
Going on a flight for 14 hours in a row.
I do know.
I know these 14 hours. After 2 hours, just by the mind knowing that 14 hours, no mindful movement, and I'm plugged into my my meditations.
Mm-hmm.
I see my ego screaming 14 hours, but it won't stop, and there's no way out, no door out. But
of course there's a door out. I think
door?
you know that. I know in the moment it feels like there's no door out, but I think you're also.
Yes, of course. I could take a wine. I could eat myself up to here.
No, but there's a spiritual door out too.
But the spiritual door out, I already tried, like with guided meditation.
Okay. So hang on a second.
Then you will find on my Insight Timer, she meditated for 14 hours.
Okay, so wait a second. So let's.
But I want to know, like, when is this point coming? I mean, I've done this now for 5 years. Okay. When will the ego will say, I observe and I become more the observer than the sufferer?
The ego will never say that. Hang on.
Yeah, but then...
No. It's important. The ego will never say that, because the ego is not the observer.
Yes, of course.
The ego from a contracted place observes what's going on, but it's from the ego.
Yeah.
The observer is the observer.
Where do I switch? Bless you.
Thank you so much. That's the key question.
Yeah,
so can I ask you a few questions?
Yes, please.
And then we're going to get down to this, and hopefully you'll start to see what's going on here. Okay, so let's say you're on a 14-hour flight.
Yes, please.
You plug in your meditations, you're oming, you're this, you're that. Maybe you take a nap, but then you still got 14
hours.
No
nap 14 hours, I tell you.
Okay. After 2 hours, the mind starts to go, hey, what am I going to do for the next 10 hours, right? Now, would you call that desire to be somewhere else, or would you call it more aversion for being where you're at?
Aversion to where I am.
Okay. Now, here's the question. Annette, my dear, are you mindful of the aversion?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's the closed loop. So you said there's no doorway out. Well, there is a doorway out. So, and I think sometimes you probably are, you're certainly aware there's aversion. Now, when I say mindful, it's not like, oh yeah, like there's some noise happening outside. It's not like you're just aware of it, but you actually stop and you take it. Oh, wow, that's the aversion. And you're able to detach and really observe the aversion. Are you ever able to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
In
Hang
other
on.
circumstances, of course, I am.
Okay.
But
So wait.
in
So
that
let's.
circumstances,
Okay.
I had this flash of awareness, really, that I was so identified with the part of me that wants to save me. You know. Yeah.
That wants to say what?
Yeah, that wants to save me, that wants to run away, that the
It's
part
aversion.
of,
The
yeah, that,
aversion.
yes, exactly.
Okay. And are you mindful of the aversion?
Now I am.
You are.
Yes, now I am. I
Okay.
were not.
Okay. Wait a second. So we're not finished
Yeah.
yet. When you're mindful of the aversion, when you can detach, let's say it's here, something like that, you can detach and see it. What are the qualities of the aversion?
They try to protect. They are they are a program of a protection program.
Okay, so there's a survival issue
Yes,
being
yes, yes,
activated.
yes, yes, yes.
Could we, because I'm trying to get down to what the
Yeah,
basic
yeah.
instinct is. Would you say there's fear?
Yes,
Okay,
of course.
okay. So
Of
the
course, there.
aversion, the fear is dry, but the aversion is more superficial. The fear is deeper.
Yes.
Okay. Are you mindful of the fear?
Yes, you know, the fear thing.
Yeah.
I used to have very much flying. How do you say?
Anxiety.
Anxiety.
Uh-huh.
I worked with that fear. I got over the fear,
Mm-hmm.
but now I'm getting aware that the protective program, this anxiety, which made my muscles to contract to want to run away,
Mm-hmm.
I left that. I didn't give that the attention, the mindfulness, the love, the acceptance.
Okay.
So that stayed somewhere installed. But the fear
Okay.
part, I have already embraced that one. You know.
Yeah, but you have to brace it. But okay, that you're speaking about the past. What about on
Yeah.
the airplane? On the airplane, when there's like, oh, are you mindful of it?
Yeah. That one I can. You know, I can see
So
the.
for 14 hours, you work with it, you meditate with it,
No,
you
because that
explore it.
one I kiss it. You know, and then it
Okay,
goes.
good,
Then that one dissolves. But the one
awesome.
that says uh, uh, that part, you know, that wanted to protect the fear one, that is that I didn't give any attention up to now.
And you don't call that fear, that part?
That is that protector one, the warrior one. And
Okay,
that one, I have aversion against him. I say, shut up. Why do you contract all of my muscles? That is
okay, okay,
very,
okay, okay, okay,
you
okay,
know,
okay, okay, okay. So you've done loving kindness meditation, I'm sure.
yes, of
You've
course.
done compassion and acceptance.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I
But
did.
do you have compassion and acceptance towards the protector?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Because I didn't see him. I was identified. You
Yeah.
made me see it now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
Annette, remember you said there's no way out. That's because you don't see that. Yeah. So that, and now I'm not saying that might just be the first layer or the second layer or the third layer. The point is when you're mindful, like now you're mindful of that part, right? The
Yeah.
protector. Is that part of you is it energetically in you now?
Yeah.
Okay. And so let me ask you, what is the quality of that? What are some characteristics of that protector energy inside of you? Is it in the body? Is it in the mind?
It's in the body. I can feel
Okay.
the contractions in here it's
Mhm.
in the front body, it contracts inside,
Yes.
in
Yes.
the here in the shoulders, and
Yes.
it makes my hands in
Like
fists
that.
and
Good.
all that,
How's the
and
breathing? How is the breathing?
it goes up.
Good. Don't change anything. Just be mindful of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So being mindful of those qualities as you're. So first there was the anxiety. Oh my God, it's going to last forever. Then there was the
Yeah.
aversion, and then there was the fear, and now we're at the protector. And there's all this contraction in the body,
Yeah.
and the breathing is difficult, and there's aversion towards that. And there's part of you that wants to struggle with the protector, but that's not being activated right now. So as you continue to stay aware of the tension in the neck and the contraction in the chest and the heaviness in the belly, whatever it is, as you continue to be mindful of that, what happens to it?
Yeah. It dissolves.
Okay, how does it dissolve? How does it dissolve?
I can feel that the contraction in the solar plexus, for example, it gets more space. It opens
Okay,
up.
beautiful. So there's more space, it's more opening. Does it dissolve like a sugar cube or like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
sandcastle?
Nice picture. And
Okay, good. So
also, I
the
also
cube is
felt it.
hard, but then it starts to
Yeah,
open and soften. Yeah.
yeah. And for example, I also felt it in my upper legs, very
Okay.
contracted.
And
And now
now
all of a sudden, I feel that I want to relax
dance.
my legs
Uh-huh.
away.
And what about this area? You
Yeah,
also
yeah,
described
yeah.
this area. How
It
would you
it
describe
it
that?
opens up. I get more space in the collarbones,
Good.
and
Let's just you and
I
I
get
kind of,
more space in the collarbones, and whew, I
yeah,
can
I
breathe
feel it.
freely.
So let's be with that. Let's just be with it together. Maybe we close our eyes just for like a minute,
Yeah,
and let's just be with that feeling for just a minute, okay? Like just normal mindfulness practice. It may, with no agenda here, it may become contracted again, or it may continue to be open and loose. Just observe what's going on.
yeah, it feels very sweet.
And can you tell me now, where is the energy that you called the protector? Is that operating at all, or is it relaxed?
It's relaxed. I feel as if we are sitting together, you know.
Yeah. And is there fear, or is that also relaxed?
The fear is, I can feel it, but it feels like I can hold it with presence, you know. It's okay that it's there.
And how about the anxiety? Not the anxiety, there was aversion to the old experience. There seems to be more acceptance in you.
Yes, it's more accepting, but it's skeptical. You know, the aversion says, "Well, okay, I can see you now, but let's see how it works over 10
Yeah,
minutes," you say, but
over
it's
14 hours.
accepting
Yeah,
for the
sure.
yes.
Fair enough. So catch this right now and take the skepticism.
Mhm.
Can you detach and observe the skepticism with mindfulness?
Yes.
And what are its qualities? The qualities of the skepticism.
It's a kind of contraction in the throat
Mm-hmm.
as well. I want to protect you for disappointment, you know. You might be
Mm-hmm.
disappointed when you actually go on the flight, but
Yeah.
okay, I give you the benefit of the doubt for the moment.
Okay. So that's the
Okay.
skepticism, a little apprehension about the future, like when you get on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
airplane.
yeah,
Okay. So that's also there. Are you able to be mindful of all that?
yeah. I
And
am.
just gently hold it with acceptance. Gently hold it with your mindfulness. And continue to observe those qualities. They can become more intense. They can become less intense, whatever. But can you describe what's happening now?
Yeah, I can feel that the heartbeat goes a bit more fast because the chest is more open, so I'm more aware. But I can give it room.
Hmm.
Okay, I can also travel with skepticism. I can make friends with it.
Well, the thing, I mean, that's making friends and even doing a guided meditation with skepticism in a way is a very valuable strategy, but it's still some agency in their doing. Can you just be in your own mindfulness and be with the skepticism and be with whatever happens to that energy?
Yeah, and now I can tell you, I'm so much afraid of being overpowered by the skepticism. I feel I need to keep it down somehow with some strategy. You know, I fear it might overpower me.
Great. And are you able to be mindful of the fear? It's a completely legitimate fear, completely. But can you be mindful of that fear?
Yeah.
And what's happening to the fear? Or no, not, sorry, what are the qualities of the fear? If you can explain that to me, describe that to me.
It's a bit of whining. We have been down that slope for so many times. Please.
Okay, hang on a second. Hang on a second. So there's some expectation that you're repeating the old experiences?
Yeah.
So find the expectation or the apprehension of repeating another old experience, an unpleasant experience.
Yeah.
There's an apprehension there. Can you be with that?
Yeah.
So we're really we're like fine tuning our practice into ever more subtle levels of really subtle mental activity.
Yeah. I can feel how it goes in my upper legs, how there's another contraction in my upper legs saying no to that expectation of being overpowered again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I can, if I feel it in my body, you know, that's the benefit of yoga practice. When you feel something in your body, ooh, you can go there. And,
Okay, that's great, but don't go there right now. Stay with this fear or the apprehension of repeating the same experience. I agree with everything you said, but let's just be with this. Let's not deflect off to something else. Be with this. It might become more intense.
when I'm just with that, I'm
Yeah.
just with a very, very strong heartbeat. Whew.
Great.
But I can feel that I use your spiritual spine now to steady mine.
To stabilize, yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Thank you for being there. I mean,
well, Annette, so what we need to do, and that's the process, is that we want to stabilize our mindfulness, which is really, really difficult. It's like trying to balance a bowling ball,
yeah.
on a needle.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to balance something like that. So our mindfulness is like that. It's so easy to slip off here, slip off there. But we want to follow the inner thread of what's happening, and then what are the qualities of what's happening? And as we get those qualities, what happens? So what I just led you through was a very simple thing. What is the actual experience, the bare experience, not the story, but the bare experience. So there was either apprehension or fear or aversion that operates a lot of, and there's a lot of stories that we add to that. But okay, let's get through that to what's going on there. So there's fear or apprehension. What are the qualities? There's tightness in the body or maybe tightness in the mind. As we stay mindful of that, detaching and observing without re-identifying, which is not easy to do already.
Yeah.
But if we can do that,
Don't
right, what happens then? What happens to the experience?
Yeah, and this brings this curiosity, which feels so healing.
That's
You know,
great.
this second of what is happening then, you know, not falling in the autopilot, but when you asked me that question, I asked myself that question. And this gives this curiosity And the
Okay.
curiosity is what feels so space making.
Because curiosity that you're talking about is actually a function of wisdom. In Vipassana, it's called one of the 7 factors of enlightenment. It's this ability for the mind to investigate. But what it's investigating, Annette, is the deeper spiritual principle. It's not investigating the story or
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what's really going on here? And we try to get down to the fundamental relevant principle.
Yeah,
So
it's investigating with the quality of not knowing, of being okay with, I don't know what the answer is, and I don't need to find necessarily an answer which makes sense. I'm
right.
just allowing myself to be in this slippery space, you know.
And you follow the inner thread of experience. So, sometimes the thread is like painful and not so pleasant and even disgusting or something like that.
No,
But it's experience. So it's arising. So that's what it is. So I stay with that and I follow that thread. Where is that thread going to lead me? Often it leads me where the ego doesn't want to go. It's like, why? It's unpleasant. Why would I? No, let me think about this, or let me do a guided meditation so I relax. So not to say something bad about guided meditation. If your thread is like a big tangled ball, it's very healthy to go do a guided meditation so everything relaxes. And then you come back to Vipassana. Then you come back to mindfulness practice and just be. I have an alarm going. Can I just go turn that off and I'll be right back? One second, okay? And then we have to kind of wrap this up. So give me just a second.
Okay, thank you.
So Annette, just to wrap up, so what I kind of work with you on is kind of the sense of self, the ego. I don't mean ego in a bad way, but the sense of self, our tendency is to move away from that stuff.
Yeah.
Mindfulness invites us to be with. Mindfulness always invites us to be with. It's not active trying to get to something. It's not passive waiting for something to happen. It's present with what's arising in an experience, and then that experience usually comes closer, over time will come closer to our mind, to the power of observation, to our spiritual insight. And then we kind of enter into the experience that way. And whenever that's how you get out of the loop. That actually, it's the doorway out of the loop. But it happens through basic mindfulness. Your guided meditations or mantras or whatever, that can actually help you to get out of the loop, calm down, and get deep and really, develop your concentration. But then you want to go back into pure mindfulness. And, the thing about guided meditation, one last thing I'll say. Guided meditations and mantras can be like a protection. Mm-hmm. They're like a shield that protects us from difficulties. Vipassana is we're wide open. So my teacher used to say, it's like going into battle with a sword. So you cut through things, but you don't have armor. You're going to feel all the pain. Yeah. And that's what Vipassana is. It doesn't mean it's a negative practice or
no, of course.
But you're wide open. You're wide open to everything goes. And that's how we purify the mind. So you wanted to say something, sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to say something. I don't know whether you are aware that there are meditations that work actually like this. They bring you out of, they get you into some relaxation, and then they actually guide you, give you space to follow your process, and then they guide you back. And
of course.
This is at times when very helpful, especially when I feel like what I've been doing for the past 5 years with flying, that I can't see a certain aspect of myself, in staying into battle for 14 unpleasant
No, no,
hours.
no, 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 no. I agree. And that's what I was saying before. Integration of practices
Yeah.
is very helpful.
Now
At some point, you won't need it.
yeah, exactly.
Or
And
if you do it, it's actually just for pleasure, or not for pleasure, but to really enjoy that also, because that's deep meditation.
yeah, and what you did now in 20 minutes, I mean, that was so great. I'm really looking forward. I'm going to Brazil in February, so
Okay, so you have a chance
that
to practice.
experience is very near.
Good. So listen. So because I have to finish off now. What I would recommend to you is continue doing what you're doing. Your practice
Yeah.
is good. Your question about am I escaping one thing to go to another, escaping that may be the case. You can investigate that. Be curious about that. But when you come to challenging experiences,
Yeah.
take that as an object of observation and notice its qualities.
Yeah.
And it might take you to something, oh, there's fear there. Oh, there's apprehension there. Oh, there's expectation there. Or there's judgment there. And to just be with that and stay with that and notice the qualities, the specific qualities of it, and then what happens to it. And you might find that all that melts like a sugar cube melting, and you open up into this expansive space. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're
I will
very
keep
welcome.
that picture, that thread, which you magically showed at the right moment. I will keep that in mind, because it's really such a nice symbol for following the actual experience in the here and now. So helpful, Miles. I'm really very, very thankful.
As usual, I'm always happy to meet and talk with you, and I'm happy to hear about your practice. So I wish you the best. And if you have any questions in the future, you know how to contact me. So
thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. I'm going to turn off the recording, then I'm going to say a couple of words to you. So thank you very much for that. Yeah.